All right, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Just doing a small little top 10 market report for the week of April 22nd, 2024. Just a couple books that I've been on the lookout for and just wanted to see what the current market was. We're not going to do like a comparison of when the book came out or just recent highs from the pandemic or from last year. Just want to look at the current actual quote unquote ticker market sale for today. uh, Hope you guys enjoy this show, and I hope you guys take something out of it to help you navigate through your search for that rare or specific comic book that you're looking for. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I want to say thanks everyone for your support. We're at plus 600 subscribers. If you do like this show, please like, subscribe, let everyone know. We're trying to get to more hours viewed, and I'll try and put out more content and more freebies as we move forward. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, let's see here. So, yeah, I just kind of looked at a few books that I've been looking for quite some time, whether I was going to buy those books or not. With the market being where it's at, and just where we always talk about this at nauseum on Sundays on my Instagram page, all of those different things. Um, the market is kind of tough, and it's really hard to see whether or not you should hold on to a book for maybe a week or two, or flip it the same week you get it once it makes it onto like a top 10 list, like this one particularly, or when a movie comes out, specifically when a trailer comes out. I don't know if you all knew, but today the Deadpool most updated trailer came out, and it looks pretty awesome. So I took a couple inspirations from that particular trailer to see where particular key spec books are at. And so yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this show. And yeah, let's see what we got going on. So the first book we have is Earth X 12, the 12th issue. I think it's the last issue of this Earth X series. Beautiful art by Alex Ross here. And obviously, with the Silver Surfer news that came out on this one, this book has spiked. I don't know if this was like a dollar bin book per se, but I want to say that this was a spec play nonetheless. Last book I saw on April 22nd, so that's today, ended at $42. So you think about that, right? It's not ending on Sunday, it's ending on a Monday, whether that be Monday morning or what have you. I mean, that's really healthy. There's several bids on a book and it ends at $42. This book came out like more than 2 decades ago. So this is a very healthy book as of today. I'm personally not specking on this book just because Fantastic Four has never been my thing. But if you are looking for it, it's still coming at a decent premium. I don't know if that's kind of the top, but let's take a look and see if there's other sales out there or current sales, and let's see what they're going for. Okay, let me just sharing this tab. So, people were asking $52 for it. I don't know if I'd buy this raw if I was investing in it. I'd really have to see it in person, to be honest. This guy doesn't really give two shits about how much he's going to get for it. It's probably not in very good condition. These are all raws. 5 days healthy. Very fine and near mint. I mean, yeah, this book came out more than 2 decades ago. I don't see a lot of bids other than that one. Of course, it is Monday, so either auctions just started or starting today. Not a ton of CGC sales yet either. I didn't really look up any CGC sales on this book because I just assumed that people are just trying to buy this raw and maybe submit it and then maybe hold on to it. That's kind of what my thought process is. I kind of like this Earth X number half play a little better, just because it's a half comic book, and those are, you have to send it in for a check or something, or you have to send a check in for these particular ones. But yeah. So anyway, yeah. So sorry, I had to check an email there. But yeah, I think it's still pretty healthy. So if you have one and you're trying to get $45 to $50 and it's in pretty good condition, take some really good pictures of this book, because I think people are going to be very particular of how much they want to bid on your book there too. So next up, Wolverine number 88. So obviously with the news coming out, or sorry, the trailer coming out today, Yeah, this book is pretty cool. I had an eye for in this book. I sold it for like 120 bucks at the time that I had it. I can't really remember off the top of my head if this book was like going for like 500 or like 450 in 9.8. There's a newsstand version. We're not going to take a look at the newsstands though. But I feel like this was a fairly nice spec book if you couldn't go the route of, say, first appearance of, Deadpool or Hulk 180, 181, 182, what have you. The This is kind of like the cool cover play to go with. Just due to the fact that they're, I mean, who knows if they do the scene in the movie, like that would be iconic, type of cover to screen, kind of deal. But um this is, these sales ended last week or this past weekend. So 70 bucks raw for a near mint copy. If you're going for a 9.8, so like investable grade, you're going to pay around 220 to 290 bucks. That's what it went for this past week. I feel like if you have this book, this is what I would do personally. If you have this book in 9.8 or you had him verified near mint, I would post it tomorrow and do a 5-day auction. Reason being is that if you post it tomorrow afternoon, for example, it's going to end on Sunday. And I just think there's going to be focus again on this book or any type of Wolverine slash Deadpool spec. But I feel like this is the book to sell. I would probably hold New Mutants 98 or Hulk 180, 181. But this is the book I think I'd sell at this point. It's the second trailer. The movie doesn't come out till, I would say, August or like July, whatever date it is. And if there's any time that if there's any point in any time that this book is like, or this movie is going to be at its peak, it's right now. When the trailer came out, it kind of reminded me of when the Super Bowl came out and the Doctor Strange movie came out and that new Avengers Illuminati book just spiked. I feel like that has that same kind of excitement with this book. And there's a lot of, there's some nuggets in the trailer, but there's enough to like kind of keep you wondering like what's going to happen. But I'll just stop talking. Well, let's look at some of the sales currently, or sorry, listed books that are currently going on. And you might be able to. I'm not buying this book right now in any event at all. But yeah, like I said, people were asking her almost 3 figures for this book. It's a solid cover, man. It always has been. I've always thought this was like a pretty cool cover. There's not that many bids getting action on it, so that kind of tells me that perhaps there's not like a lot of excitement over the trailer yet, or people are still waking up trying to figure out what's going on. But yeah, so I guess let's just see. Oh, that's kind of cool. There's a homage foil. That's pretty cool. I hadn't looked at like Wolverine #1s just because I want to get something that was, encapsulated both characters. I didn't look at X-23. That's a pretty liquid book anyway. But let's just see CGCs. Let's see CGC. So not a lot of Wolverine 88. Not okay. Here we go. So yeah, like I said, 9.6, 9.6. This guy's not going to get. And no one's going to look at that listing. Okay, so 9.6 is going for 102.50. So what was okay 140? So it'll be interesting to see these two kind of. And this is pretty liquid, man. I mean, there's a day and 9 hours left, so you're looking at this one's going to end tomorrow. This one's going to end tomorrow morning. So that's pretty liquid in my opinion. That's a good starting point. This guy wants an 8.5. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, dude. Yeah, this is kind of cool. 9.6 listing is going to end this Sunday. That's kind of the way to do it. I'm sure this is going to go for quite up to close to what those other guys were getting, but I don't see any 9.8s being listed for sale so far, but yeah, just kind of keep an eye on that. Good to know. And yeah, I think there's a lot of excitement with the new Deadpool movie coming out trailer. So let's see what's going on. The next one. So this has been just crazy. This Harley Quinn 37 variant. Fedora, you are always on it when you call out a book. And you're on it on this one too. I think when we were talking about this kind of backstage or just between DMs, you were seeing like no sales for this book. No one was selling this book. Or I think you saw one for like $80 and just passed on it. The nice thing about these DC covers is if you want a 9.8, you're probably going to get it. DC does a really good job with just the way that they, print out the books on the covers. They come out really clean. But what's crazy is a 9.8 sold, and shout out to Bruce for Kingdom of Nerds. A 9.8 sold for like $600 plus. I think he has a pretty nice. I think he has a copy or two, and I'm not sure what they graded at. But man, this is too crazy for me. For this to stay hot is really telling of this how unpredictable the market is, and you just don't know sometimes. But those ratio, plays, they can really take off. And my suggestion is, I think comic book stores are kind of getting like smart to the idea of like, oh, I should look at where the market's going for on this book, and if I want to sell it the same week, I'm going to sell it for like $50. But they have a ton of ratios, right? So perhaps you can catch a dealer or an LCS or whomever, like trying to quote unquote just get rid of inventory, and maybe you can, I won't say lowball, but like, make a fair offer. And it's all speculation, right? But if you think a ratio book that's coming out, that's later print, that has a fire cover, I don't like saying that word, that has an amazing cover, and you think people are going to want it, make an offer for like $50, 30, 40, or what have you, and just do it to multiple, like, listings, or, go old school and just like start DMing or emailing your LCS and just, it's like, hey, do you guys have this at ratio? I wouldn't FOC anything, because there's so like 3 amazing covers that come out one week, and it could water down the market. Fedora, what he likes to do is he doesn't like to do an FOC like or ratio variant every week. But if he sees one, he'll go after it for sure. So anyway, kind of went off a tangent there, but yeah. So this sold for 9.8s, 550 plus, so like 600. The bids were crazy on that as well. But let's take a look at the current market. Harley Quinn 37. Share this tab. So this is pretty healthy, and I feel like on a Tuesday with 2 bids, like, wow, that's pretty impressive. I mean, these guys are making money off this book. This guy's like, screw that. You got to offer me some money here. I don't know if I don't know if the demand for this book's going to die down with more being sent off to CGC. Is it going to have that, Captain Marvel, Daughterman variant effect? Or are people buying this and putting it away? I'm not sure. As you can see, there is no sales there's no current listings of this book. I mean, here, let me try 2024. Maybe that'll narrow it down, but I mean, yeah, I'm really not sure. Yeah, there is nothing really being sold from this right now. Yeah, so no one's selling this book. Sorry, guys. So yeah, if you are looking for one, good luck. I guess that's all I got to say. Moving on to the next one. And we're about 15 minutes into this little presentation here. I want to thank everyone for their continued support. The last video I did of this last week, we got 170 some views. So I'll keep doing this every Monday, along with our shows on Sunday live at 10 a.m. If you guys are liking this content here, please like, subscribe, tell all your friends. We're trying to up the viewership hours. That's what helps to get monetized. So, and I'll keep looking at this market at random stuff and, share the information with the world and keep this going. So next, you guys all know if you watch the show on a regular basis, Ages of Atlas is my gem, is my jam. It's also Jason's jam. I'm not speculating as much as I used to on this book, but I definitely still love the character. Um, if you guys are keeping up with the series, his first appearance is in Ages of Atlas #2. He's on the cover of the first issue of Ages of Atlas, but this is kind of the #1 book to get in the whole series. It still goes for about 20 to 30 raw near mint. Now, if you are trying to buy this book and you want a high grade, make sure to look at the back of the cover. The back of this cover has that, that Avengers, I think it's a Avengers, I can't remember what movie it is, but I don't know if it's Infinity War or um the fine, or yeah, I think it's Infinity War. I can't remember, but sorry. But yeah, it has that Avengers movie poster that adds a ton of color rub. Unfortunately, um, I saw a 9A go for $85 on IG, and I'm kind of like, if this really does pan out and Swordmaster does come, which it sounds like if Kevin Feige's still at the helm in a couple years, it's probably going to happen. Um, I'd probably offer like 60 to 65 just in this market because there's not as many eyes on this book as there used to be. I feel like people that have this book are holding it. I personally have like 4 copies of this, and I have a bunch of Swordmaster's first comic books or first series comic books, covers and all that. But with the first Swordmaster, the thought process here is like, so the Iron Fist is supposedly coming back to the MCU universe, and I don't know if that's going to be entryway for Swordmaster, but if they continue with the comic books, and my sources that aren't great, but they're fairly reliable, it sounds like they want to introduce Swordmaster in this fashion. I would love to have a separate kind of origin story for him, but I understand there's so many characters you would have to do that for. This might be the most natural fit to have 2 Iron Fists at the same time. Again, yeah, an $85 9A went for sale, and I thought that was a little bit high unless the guy was not paying taxes and shipping or got a discount on that. But let's take a look at the market and see what Agents of Atlas 2 is doing in. So that 9.4 is $90. Shoot, that might be a nice one. 175. This is the variant, of course. Like that's the book to have. I have 2 and 9.8, so I'm good there. $75 buy it now so that's around $100. So yeah, it looks like people are willing to sell it for a nice penny there. I might bid on that later. Let's see, $35 best offer. Again, if you're best offering on these books, just look at the back and just make sure there's not a ton of color rub on this. And 9.6, I'd probably offer like honestly, like I'd want 50, like period. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good deal there. Maybe offer this guy, would you be willing to go down to 15? I'm still pretty high on Swordmaster, everybody. So good luck to you guys out there. I mean, this 9.6 was like $800 back in the day. But pretty cool. It's still pretty liquid. It looks like a lot of people don't want to lose their shirt on this book. So they're kind of like at this point, and maybe that's maybe that's every single book out there, but yeah, it seems like a lot of people just don't want to lose their shirt on this book. Maybe they bought it for $30 and the market's just not there right now. So, but anyway, moving on to the next book. I was thinking of, flipping books and how that's like really fun, and how a lot of people are doing the Art Adams deal where anything Art Adams that's new, that's ratio. You buy it, grade it, and then just flip it. I don't know if I do that with Amazing Spider-Man. From our Gen X show that we did a while back, Amazing Spider-Man was still heavily ordered by LCSs. He's still a very popular title to have. So I'm thinking like it's probably not a smart thing to get every single Art Adams book, even if it's a later print, especially if it's Spider-Man. Like that's not the way to do it. With that said, this came out I think last October, November. This popped out the gate like 50 bucks raw. I just saw recently 9.8 sell for 77 bucks. So if you're a huge Art Adams fan, and if you're a huge Black Cat fan, I guess that's a great deal. But I don't know, this doesn't really do it for me. It just looks like a regular Art Adams cover. It reminds me of the Strange Academy kind of style that he did with Doyle. Obviously, it's not female, but I just don't. When I saw this book, on my LCS, I was like, yeah, that's probably going to get 30 bucks and it's probably going to stay there. And, 6-7 months later, so it really hasn't done anything. But yeah, if you got this at ratio and flipped it for 50 bucks, I mean, that's probably the best you're going to do. I wouldn't do any Art Adams Marvel specific flips anymore. It's just obviously the market doesn't really like it. But let's see where the current market is for this book. Art Adams, Spider-Man 36. Was that what it was? So yeah, people were asking, thinking this guy's probably bought this for 50 bucks and is trying to flip it. This will be an interesting one to watch if you're in the market. Canada is always a nice one to bid on, even though that's international, because you can get fairly good deals on them. This doesn't really seem like a book though that people are crazy about, or maybe it's just Art Adams. I don't even think that exists. Like Art Adams hardcore, fans that are just keeping this book and they need to have every Art Adams book, and maybe they already have it on their pull list, so they did not need to go to eBay to suffice their urge for this book. So I didn't want to spend a ton of time on this book because it didn't really speak for me anyway. So this one, I remember when this book came out during the pandemic, I probably found like 6 copies of this book and just flipped them. I had a 9.8 when the movie came out, and I sold it. I think I sold it for like 120, or maybe it was a little bit less than that. But I had made so much money off this book already that I was like okay with it. But first Ultimatum, he's actually defeated like in the later issues. This new run of Miles isn't really helping this book either, just due to the fact that he's no longer around. I don't know if he's dead, but that's kind of like the going kind of thought here. But what's crazy is this book dropped down to less than grade. I think someone's just liquidating their stuff, which is what I'm doing too. But yeah, 2150 for a 9.8. I guess get the variant if you're specking on this book or want a deal. But the fact that this recent iteration of Miles is kind of boring, it's okay. This series though was awesome. There's a lot of cool key comics out of this series. This and the Ultimatum story was pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of an original, right? A clone. That's just not as like fun and exciting. Miles does not have very cool adversaries. I'm just gonna say it up front. It's just he doesn't have great villains like Spider-Man does. But yeah, so Miles Morales number 10, Legacy number 250 issue, 2150. Man, that's tough. So if you see this out of your LCS and they have a grade at 9.8, they're trying to find 3 figures for it, you might want to show them this show and tell them that that thing's gonna be collecting dust. It's gonna be a doorstopper for sure. So if you have this book, I'm sorry. Wolverine 36. I was so very wrong on this book. I thought it was gimmicky, and then I read the issue and I read Ghost Rider, and I was like, damn, this is actually a pretty tight series. So Wolverine 36, first Wolverine, the combo of Ghost Rider and Wolverine. What's weird is like I feel like this is like a concept that should have happened a long time ago. But nonetheless, man, like a lot of people are wanting this book. 76 bucks raw. And there's no spec, there's no like movie spec on this book. This is purely like people are like this are digging this latest Wolverine iteration, and they're just digging Ghost Rider. I think it's a good combination of the both. 9.6s go for around 190, which I think is pretty fair for what the current market is selling for. But without further ado, let's take a look at the market real quick. And then I kind of want to look at that Ghost Rider too. Okay, so this guy's trying to make some money. He's got 2 9.8s, or maybe it's just 198. He's asking for 199. I think that's fair, man. Like, negotiate if you really want this book. You negotiate with this guy. Like, offer him 150. He may counter with. He may start and pat that 199.99. Whenever I see C picks in description, I just don't even click on that. This guy's probably asking for a little too too big of a price. I actually dig this cover better. Um, 44 bucks healthy, and that's ending today. So this is a very liquid book. That's kind of tight. The black and white variant. I'd actually probably go for this and offer 75. The second print's like, actually, I like the second print too. I'd rather have the second print or this other cover. 25 bucks with 6 days left. That's healthy. And I think sellers are trying to piggyback on the Wolverine news too, or the trailer, what have you. That's pretty high there. 150. I don't know what the census is. The census count is on this, but cool series too, man. I mean, if you aren't reading Wolverine or Ghost Rider, like, do it. And then this is kind of the other big book. This book actually dipped a little bit. I remember I gave this book away, man. I give away so many books. But it's okay. I have too many books anyway. 75 bucks for a 9.4. 9.8s are so they're kind of going for the same amount, which is respectable. And yeah, I was very raw in this book. There are some FOC, kind of FOC shows that were saying buy 20 of these, and I was like, I don't know. And I think, the tough thing about FOC is like there's a small description of the book or the cover, and so you have to like use that very little amount of information you have about like the description. And then after that, it's like, well, what do you do if you have 10 copies of something that doesn't work out? I just think it's too risky. People make their bread that way, and respect to them, but for me, it's just not my thing. 8 Billion Genies #1. Now, I think for you cat nerd fans out there like myself, you probably bought this book. I bought this book for like 10 bucks, and I was going to keep it. I got 9.8 out of it. I listed it. It went for like 200. So I'm not mad about that, but like this 8 Billion Genies, like these covers were so random, cracked me up. There's not a lot of sales of this book. I couldn't find a lot of sold sales of this book, but excuse me, 148 for a raw copy of this. Oh, sorry, 148 for a 9.8. People are asking for a pretty big penny for this. I think not just necessarily on the 8 Billion Genies like spec, but so much like the cover is just funny. 50 to 70 bucks raw, and these books press pretty easily. So the fact that's ratio or like a variant, it probably adds a little bit of rarity, but the 9.8s you should be able to get one. Just because the fact that these image books just press so nice. They don't come out very nice, but you do have to press them. Genies, one cat. And I went specifically on the cat one because I love cats. Yeah, so like people are like, no, I'm not selling this book. This guy wants 110. This one's starting at 95, 129. The first prints are going for pretty good too. I dug the oh wow, that's freaking hilarious. I want that curse words one. The story was really good, and then they just kept printing copies of like there's like 17 different prints of this book, and I was just like, oh gosh, it's another independent story that's I mean, I know people got to make their money, but like it just wouldn't stop. But yeah, so not that many out there for sale, I would say, compared to the other prints, and not a lot of sales for this book either. So it's a weird kind of paradigm, right? But if you are for some reason looking for 8 Billion Genies, the cat variant, there you go. Okay. All right, moving on. So I thought this was like, wow. I would rather have this book personally than the Star Wars 44, I believe what it is. Quote unquote, like rookie card of Boba Fett. Empire Strikes Back, Marvel Super Special number 16. 9.2 went for $100. I remember selling a 9.4 for like 600 back in the day. There was a little bit back and forth of whether or not this was like the book, the one to get versus the the comic book. I would buy this for $100 and 9.2 because two reasons. One, comic books are so much easier to get in higher grade. And two, like, how cool would it be to get like a gold signature or like silver or I guess whatever color you want. And grade that in a 9.2 or 9.4. The thing is with these with magazine, graded covers, like it's so hard to get a 9.0 and above. And it doesn't matter if it's a newer magazine or an older one. Like, and especially since this is an older one, like I can imagine how hard it is to get a great grade on this book above a 9.0. But so essentially, you're valuing a 9.2 magazine from the early 80s that has a first appearance of Boba Fett at only $70 raw, because the cost to grade this magazine is around 22.50 plus shipping and all that. So I just think that's a good value there. And I think, yes, the fact that Boba Fett's on the cover of the Star Wars comic book, if you're a true collector, I feel like the first appearance of them in the guts is more sophisticated, especially in magazines, because people don't get that in magazines yet. In the magazine market may come to fruition, or there may be a little bit better of a push in there once the education goes out there. But for now, like, people don't value first appearances inside the guts; they value the cover. I value the first appearance personally. I think that's way cooler to have. But yeah, $100 for 9.2. You kidding me? Let's look at the market though. Let's see here. Marvel Super Special 16. So I probably wouldn't pay that. I'd probably just get this 9.2 and offer him $100 for it. Those are 4.5 for 59. But I mean, like, this one's like, let's look at this one. So yeah, this is not going to grade very well, but like, how cool would it be just to have it? Like, if you're a Boba Fett fan, then yeah, I think that's just cool. And this magazine came out in 1980, so the fact that it's that, it grades that well, man, I just feel like it's such a good value. Even this one's 7.5, I'd probably offer him like, $50 just to have it. But this one, dude, like 9.4. I don't know if there is like I think they're all newsstands. There might be subscription, but I doubt it. But there's a ton of them on eBay, right? But yeah, I think out of, like, when I was looking at prices for this, I was just shocked at how cheap it was. 9.4, 255. I mean, no, I'd rather go to the 9. I obviously go for the 9.2. But yeah, I thought that was just a great, potential. Why not rip this, get it signed, and resub for forever? And last but not least, this is not a market kind of report deal, but this is Fedora's pick of the week. We talked about this yesterday. It's Harley Quinn 39, the 1 in 50 variant. He's boots on the ground, right? So he actually sees the orders like in print. He told me that they still don't order a ton of Harley Quinn. He tried getting this book from his, the store that he works at in New York, and they didn't have any copies of it left. So I don't know. I think this is a good potential to have. There's none on the market, and they're asking like 3 figures for it. So is it a question of like, is the popularity going to die down because of the previous Harley Quinn 37 book, or is that going to bring more focus onto Harley Quinn? I think the risk here is that it's the latter, or that it's the former, right? Like, people are going to be like, well, I already spent $500 on that 37 issue, and this one doesn't really speak to me as much. I paid $75 for this book. I figured it was a good, price point if I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'll probably make my money back or take a small loss on it. But that's what you do, right? When you're speccing. This book comes out on Wednesday, so if you are looking for it, help your LCSs. Try and get a better price than I did. But I just was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll see if this guy takes $70 for it, and he ended up accepting $70 with shipping out the door at 75. So I figure, you know, I've done pretty well in some past ones. So it's all good. It is what it is. But yeah, that is the, oh shoot, I didn't share it. My bad. But yeah, this is Harley Quinn 39, 1 in 50. Sorry about that, guys. I'll need to watch this coming week. I'm wondering if this is going to show up on any top 10 shows. Who knows? But yeah, shout out to Fedora for presenting this book. It's I think it's a beautiful book. I don't remember the artist's name, but it wasn't an artist that I knew of. He liked it because of the space kind of oddity of it. But yeah, I would hit up your LCSs, see if they have this book, see if anybody has it. And here's what I'm curious about. If you can say if you can say this in the comments, that'd be great. Call up your LCS, and if they say something like, "Hey, we actually don't have 50 copies of Harley Quinn 39, so we're not even in the running for this book," that might be another tell that, like, okay, like if there's 12 different comic book stores on the West Coast that don't have this book because they don't order enough, you know, Harley Quinns, excuse me, that might tell you that the rarity of this book might be even higher. And then maybe in a month or two, we'll look at the actual ordered numbers of these books that we're specking on and seeing if the rarity of it catches up with the demand. And but it'll be a fascinating kind of flip to see if this works out. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Again, I want to appreciate everyone for watching this 30-minute video, 30-minute plus video. Going to try and do some more of these and see what we can do with pumping up the numbers and getting more people to watch and subscribe and look at our market reports here. I want to thank, again, the community for liking, subscribing. Hit that like button. Tell your friends about the Ferd Bird the Nerd Show. We may change kind of like the format of the show. I might get a new logo with the fellows on it as well. We will be going live tomorrow with the Ronin 5 crew with some alternative collectible investments and a couple comic book investments as well. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you soon. Have a great start to your week and take care.